Assalamu alaikum students. We are studying a course Organic Polymer and our topic is classification of polymers based on heating effects. On the basis of heating effects, polymer can be classified into two main classes. One is the thermoplastic and second one is thermosetting polymers. Students, it's an important question. An examiner can ask about the difference between these two classes. So, you can write this question as a tabular form in front of you, like you can write mainly 4 to 5 points of difference about each class. So, in thermoplastic polymer becomes softened on heating. Thermoplastic polymers become softened repeatedly on heating and hardened when cooled. Student, if a polymer is softened on heating, then what we can do? Yes, we can mold it, reshape it, recast it. So second point is it can be remolded, recast and reshaped. If we can remold, reshape, it means that there is something weak intermolecular forces are present in such type of monomers or in such type of structures. So what type of weak forces are? Dipole induced dipole forces or London dispersion forces. So they are less brittle, less soluble in organic solvents. It is not less soluble while it is a soluble in organic solvents. So it formed by the addition polymerization usually have linear structures, and the example is polythene, polyvinyl chloride, polyvinyl acetate, Teflon, etc. So in second class, in thermosetting polymers, we will compare it from the earlier one, thermoplastic polymers. So thermosetting polymer, it become hardened on heating. It is totally opposite to earlier one. Thermosetting polymers become hardened on heating and cannot be softened again. If it is hardened on heating, then we cannot be remolded. We can't be reshaped it. Yes. If it is hardened, then it means that we can't reshape, and obviously we sure about that there is something strong intramolecular forces are present. And what type of strong forces? They are covalent forces. They are more brittle and insoluble in organic solvents. They formed by the condensation polymerization. They usually have three-dimensional cross-linked structures. The example includes bakelite, terylene, epoxy resin, etc. So these are overall point of difference about these two subclasses. So you can write this difference in tabular form. So we will move towards a new classification. Classification of polymers based on native backbones. On the basis of native backbone, the polymers can be further subclassified into two classes. One is the organic polymer, another is inorganic polymer. Students, one thing I clear you, the native backbone, we also called it chemical properties of polymers. What I am saying that classification of polymer based on native backbone, or we also say that it's based on its chemical properties. There are two subclasses. One is the organic polymer, another is inorganic polymer. So, the definition of organic polymers: an organic polymer is defined as one whose backbone chain is essentially made up of carbon atom. Students, there is a condition. There must be a backbone chain made up of the carbon atom. So, example is polyethylene or polystyrene. In polyethylene, the chain is made up of the carbon. Okay, and in polystyrene, the main chain, the backbone chain, is also made up of the carbon. So, in second class, inorganic polymer, an inorganic polymer is defined as one whose backbone chain is not having carbon atoms. So, how you can differentiate? In organic polymer, the backbone chain is essentially made up of the carbon atom, while in inorganic polymer, there shouldn't be backbone chain is not having the carbon atom. So, if not carbon atom, then any type of the inorganic element, either silicon, either germanium. So, the name of this type of polymer is said to be polysilene. This is a silicon present as a repeating unit, and it is a polymer named polysilene. And second is polygerman, because here the central atom is germanium. So, whole N stand for it is a repeating unit, and it is a big molecule, and we call it a polymer. So, students, we will move towards another classification. Classification of polymers based on origin. On the basis of origin, polymer can be classified into three classes. One is the natural polymer, second is semi-synthetic polymer, and third one is the synthetic polymer or artificial polymer. So, first is natural polymer. The polymer which is obtained from plants and animals. Mean, if polymers can be obtained from natural sources, these polymers are essential for life. Example of the natural polymer includes natural rubber, cellulose, starch, protein, etc. The second type is semi-synthetic polymers. In semi-synthetic polymers, these polymers are chemically modified. What is its definition? Chemically modified natural polymer is known as semi-synthetic polymers. Student, we have already studied this concept in the first lecture while we were discussing about the history of the polymers, where I have told you about a scientist, Charles Goodyear, who used the natural rubber and treated with a chemical sulfur and heat and converted into a vulcanized natural rubber to enhance its properties. So, such type of the polymer is said to be semi-synthetic polymers. The example includes vulcanized rubber and nitrocellulose, etc. So, the third one is synthetic polymers. We also call it artificial polymers. We can synthesize it in a laboratory. These polymers prepared from simple chemically compounds having low molecular weight in a laboratory is called as synthetic polymers. The example of the synthetic polymer includes polyethylene, polyvinyl chloride, polystyrene, nylon 66 and polypropylene, etc. So students, we have studied today variety of the classification of polymers on the basis of heating effect. There were two classes, thermoplastic and thermosetting. Then we have studied classification of polymers based on the native backbone. There were also two subclasses. One is the organic polymer and second one is the inorganic polymer. And we have studied the classification of polymer based on origin. There were three different types we have studied. One is the natural polymer, second is the semi-synthetic polymer and third one is the synthetic polymer. This was overall about today's lecture. Hope you will get the clear understanding of this topic of the classification. I hope you have enjoyed this lecture. Kindly share your feedback. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.